The massive silver ship descended through Earth's atmosphere with the grace of a falling leaf. Inside, Ambassador Tom clutched his safety harness with all four of his hands, his pale blue skin turning almost white as the ship experienced what humans would consider mild turbulence. "By the Council's grace," he whispered, "how do they survive in such conditions?" The preliminary scans had shocked the Galactic Council. This planet, this Earth, registered as a Class 12 death world. The readings had to be wrong. No intelligent life could evolve in such a hellish environment. Yet here they were, responding to radio signals from a civilization that somehow existed in this nightmare. The ship's AI spoke in soothing tones. "Ambassador, local atmospheric pressure is 1.0 of their units. Gravity is..." There was a pause. "This cannot be correct. Showing 1.0 G." Tom's inner eyelids flickered rapidly, his species equivalent of a horrified gasp. "Confirm that reading." "Confirmed, Ambassador. These beings live in gravity that would crush most Council species." The ship settled in a designated landing zone, a flat expanse of concrete surrounded by tall structures. Tom watched the external feeds with growing concern. Humans moved about without environmental suits, despite the savage conditions. Some were even carrying young ones with casual ease, seemingly unbothered by the crushing gravity. A delegation approached the ship. Tom took a moment to compose himself, checking his protective suit's integrity one final time. It was designed to help him cope with the extreme conditions, providing supplemental support against the gravity and filtering the harsh atmosphere. The outer door opened, and Tom nearly retreated back inside. The raw data hit his sensors like a physical blow. Temperature variations of over 20 degrees in a single day. Atmospheric toxins including nitrogen and oxygen. Background radiation from their yellow sun. Microorganisms everywhere. Sound waves of varying intensity. Wind gusts that could knock over a standard Council citizen. Yet the humans stood there, smiling, completely unprotected. "Welcome to Earth," said their leader, a male called Jack. "We're honored to make first contact." Tom managed to steady himself enough to respond. "Greetings, representatives of Earth." He paused, watching in horror as a small flying creature, what humans called a bird, swooped down near the group. None of the humans even flinched at the presence of an airborne predator. "Is everything all right?" Jack asked, noticing Tom's distress. How do you survive here?" Tom couldn't help but ask. "Our scans indicate this is a Class 12 death world. The gravity alone should make complex life impossible." The humans exchanged confused looks. Jack scratched his head, a gesture Tom would later learn indicated puzzlement. "Survive. This is perfect weather for a meeting. We even picked a nice spring day." "Nice." Tom's translator must be malfunctioning. "Your world experiences extreme temperature swings, constant meteorological violence, crushing gravity, and is bombarded by radiation from your star. That's not counting the thousands of predator species and toxic substances." A younger human in the delegation actually laughed. "Wait until winter. Now that's weather." Tom made a note in his report. Species appears to have developed cognitive adaptations to cope with their environment, including what seems to be denial of obvious dangers. "Perhaps we should continue this discussion inside your facilities," Tom suggested, eyeing the sky warily. More birds were circling overhead. "Of course," Jack said warmly. "We've prepared a welcome ceremony. There's food, drinks. You ingest substances in front of others." Tom added another note. "Possible ritualistic consumption of materials. Exercise extreme caution." As they walked toward the building, a loud rumbling sound made Tom activate his emergency shield. The humans didn't even break stride. "Just thunder," Jack explained. "Looks like we might get some rain later." "Rain?" Tom queried his database. His inner eyelids flickered rapidly again. "You mean corrosive dihydrogen monoxide falls from your sky regularly?" "Yeah, we call it water. Great for the plants." Tom added one final note before entering the building. "Update to Council. Exercise extreme caution when dealing with Earth humans. They have not only survived conditions that would kill most species, but they appear to have embraced them. Further study necessary to determine if this is an evolutionary advantage or a form of collective insanity. The first contact meeting was about to begin, and Tom had a feeling his reports would become required reading at the Galactic Council. If nothing else, as a warning about underestimating creatures who could thrive in hell. Tom's assessment of human behavior continued into its second week, and each day brought new horrors. He sat in his reinforced observation chair, watching through the window as a group of humans engaged in what they called morning routine. Subject number 42 is deliberately lifting heavy metal objects and putting them down repeatedly, he recorded into his log. When questioned, they claimed this exercise makes them stronger by damaging their muscle fibers. His inner eyelids flickered in distress. They intentionally hurt themselves to become stronger. The next observation made him jump in his chair. A human walked into the gym drinking a dark liquid. "Please identify the substance," Tom asked his AI assistant. Scanning. Substance contains high levels of caffeine, a neural stimulant. In most species, this would cause immediate cardiac failure. Tom watched in horror as the human finished the entire cup. Subject appears to be ingesting poison for pleasure. He added another note, possible theory. Humans have evolved to require small doses of toxins to function. Later that day, Tom accompanied Jack to what humans called a restaurant. The experience would haunt him for years. "And you're sure this is safe?" Tom asked, watching Jack bite into something called a hot wing. "Oh yeah, these aren't even that spicy," Jack replied, his face slightly red and sweating. "Want to try one?" "My scanner indicates that food contains capsaicin, a defense chemical produced by plants to prevent being eaten." Tom's voice rose in pitch. "You're eating a plant's defense toxin for entertainment." Jack laughed, wiping his mouth. "Wait till you see what we drink with it." Tom nearly shut down his systems when he learned about alcohol. His report that evening was marked urgent. Humans deliberately consume ethanol, a substance they know will impair their cognitive functions and cause physical discomfort the next day. When asked why, Subject Jack responded, "Because it's fun." Further investigation needed into human definition of fun. The third day brought new surprises. Tom observed humans running outdoors in the rain. It's just water. Playing with domesticated predators. He's a good boy. Watching entertainment about fictional disasters. Love a good disaster movie. Sleeping for hours in a vulnerable state. Everyone needs their 8 hours. But it was the beach visit that truly tested Tom's composure. "Let me understand this correctly," he said to Jack, safely inside his environmental suit. "You come to this place where deadly radiation bombards you from the sky. Powerful dihydrogen monoxide waves can pull you away. Countless dangerous creatures swim nearby. The ground is unstable. Temperatures fluctuate wildly. Yeah, perfect beach day." Jack was already taking off his shirt. "Going to work on my tan." "Work on your..." "You deliberately expose your skin to stellar radiation." "Well, yeah, just got to use some sunscreen so you don't burn too bad." Tom added to his notes, "Humans have developed primitive radiation shields they call sunscreen, but still voluntarily expose themselves to danger." Previous theories about collective insanity gaining support. The final straw came during what humans called a minor medical procedure. Tom watched through an observation window as a human had a broken bone set. "Your calcium-based support structures can repair themselves," he asked the doctor afterward. "Oh sure, bones are pretty good at healing," the doctor replied casually. "Kids break them all the time while playing. No big deal." That evening, Tom sent his preliminary report to the Galactic Council. Assessment of human species reveals disturbing facts. 1. They require daily poison consumption to function. 2. They deliberately damage their muscles to strengthen them. 3. They expose themselves to radiation for cosmetic purposes. 4. They can repair broken internal structures. 5. They find entertainment in simulated disasters. 6. They have domesticated predators as pets. 7. They regularly consume substances that impair their functions for fun. 8. They appear to be immune to most environmental hazards. 9. They willingly engage in activities that risk bodily harm. 10. They show signs of enjoying their Deathworld environment. Recommendation: classify humans as extreme survival species. Note: their apparent immunity to normal hazards makes them potentially more dangerous than initially assessed. They don't just survive their Deathworld, they thrive in it. Personal note: I have witnessed a human child fall down, injure itself, cry for 2.3 minutes, then resume normal activity. If their young are this resilient, we must be extremely careful in our future dealings with adult specimens. Tom looked out his window one last time before securing himself in his sleeping chamber. A group of humans were playing something called night football in the rain, under artificial lights, while others watched and cheered. He added one final note: they are, without doubt, the most terrifying species I have ever encountered. Not because they are aggressive, but because what we consider fatal, they consider fun. Then he took another dose of anti-anxiety medication and tried to sleep, while the sounds of human laughter echoed in the distance. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council started with chaos. Hundreds of holographic representatives flickered in the great chamber, their voices filled with fear. Tom sat in his chair, watching the panic unfold. The raiders have attacked 3 more farming worlds, announced the council leader, his pale green skin almost white with fear. They've already taken control of the Gentle Plains system. Images appeared in the center of the chamber. They showed massive black ships landing on peaceful worlds. The raiders, in their heavy battle suits, marched across fields of golden grain. Local species, all from low-gravity, peaceful worlds, could only watch helplessly. How many dead? Someone asked. No deaths yet, the council leader replied. The raiders never kill. They just take everything. Tom noticed how the other representatives seemed almost relieved. This was the problem with species from safe worlds. They feared death so much, they would accept any other fate. They're moving toward the medical gardens next, another representative shouted. 60 billion credits of healing plants will be lost. More panic, more shouting. Tom looked at his personal screen, reading the latest reports. The raiders had attacked 18 worlds in the past month. No one had stopped them. No one could stop them. Then Tom remembered something. Something that made his inner eyelids flicker rapidly. He stood up. I have a suggestion. The chamber went quiet. Everyone knew Tom as the crazy one who had been studying the Deathworlders. The humans, he said simply. Gasps filled the chamber. Someone actually fainted. You can't be serious, the council leader said. They're barbarians. Savages who drink poison for fun. Exactly. Tom played a video on the main display. It showed humans doing normal human things. A firefighter running into a burning building. A rescue team working in a snowstorm. Soldiers training in desert conditions. Athletes performing in intense gravity. The raiders come from a world with 0.8 gravity, Tom explained. Their battle suits help them move in higher gravity. But humans, he played a clip of a human gym. They live in high gravity. They get stronger by fighting against it. But the raiders have superior technology, someone argued. Tom showed another video. Humans practicing martial arts. Humans trained to fight without weapons. For fun. He emphasized the last word. They practice hurting each other as a sport. The council leader's eyes widened. They what? And that's not all. Tom was warming to his subject now. Humans can function with broken bones, survive extreme temperature changes, keep fighting when injured, think clearly under stress, run for hours without stopping, heal from most injuries, work together in combat. The chamber was silent now. Tom showed one final video, a human special forces training exercise. The raiders take worlds because no one can fight back, Tom said. But humans have been fighting their own world just to survive. Every day of their lives is combat against a death world. And you think they'll help us? The council leader asked. Right on cue, Tom's communication device beeped. It was Jack. Tom, we just got the reports about these raiders, Jack said, his voice calm. The council should know. We don't like bullies. If you need help, just ask. Tom looked at the council leader. They're offering. But they're dangerous. Yes, Tom agreed. That's exactly why we need them. The vote was quick. Fear of the humans was strong, but fear of the raiders was stronger. Within an hour, Earth received an official request for military assistance. The humans' response came even faster. Tom watched as Jack read it to the council. In response to your request for aid against the raiders, Earth's united military forces are prepared to assist. We understand the raiders have attacked peaceful worlds, stolen resources, and threatened civilian populations. This is unacceptable. We will help. Tom looked at his fellow council members. I should warn you. When I said humans enjoy fighting their death world, I didn't mention the most important part. Which is, the council leader asked nervously. They win. Tom showed one final image. Earth's combined military forces preparing for deployment. They've been winning against their world for thousands of years. The raiders don't stand a chance. As the council watched humans loading their ships with terrifying efficiency, Tom added a note to his report. Today marks a historic shift in galactic politics. For the first time, the Galactic Council has realized that sometimes you need a species from a death world to remind everyone why death worlds are feared. The raiders are about to learn this lesson the hard way. The first human ships were launching. The raiders had no idea what was coming. Tom almost felt sorry for them. Almost. Tom stood in the observation room of Earth's military command center, his environmental suit struggling to keep him upright in the high gravity. Below him, through reinforced glass, humans were preparing for war in ways that made him question his sanity. This is what you call basic training? He asked Jack, who stood beside him watching the soldiers. Just the warm-up, actually, Jack replied, sipping his morning coffee, an act that still made Tom flinch. In the massive training hall, hundreds of soldiers were exercising in what the humans called enhanced gravity chambers. The room's artificial gravity was set to 3G, 3 times Earth's normal gravity, which was already crushingly heavy for most alien species. Subject appears to be performing complex combat maneuvers under triple gravity conditions, Tom recorded in his report. When asked if this was dangerous, the instructor replied, "Nah, just Thursday." The next demonstration nearly caused Tom's recording device to short-circuit. "You're training them to fight in what?" he asked, sure he had misheard. "Environmental extremes," the training officer explained. "This chamber simulates desert conditions, 45 degrees Celsius. That one's for Arctic warfare, minus 30 degrees. The wet chamber over there creates hurricane conditions." Tom watched as soldiers moved through all 3 chambers, carrying heavy equipment, coordinating complex tactics, and even stopping to help teammates. They were smiling. Adding note to report, Tom spoke shakily. Humans not only survive in conditions that would kill most species, they deliberately practice fighting in worse conditions. The weapons training came next. Tom observed as humans demonstrated their combat capabilities. Hand-to-hand fighting techniques that used the high gravity to their advantage. Precision shooting while moving at full speed. Combat medical procedures performed under fire. Tactical planning during simulated chaos. Team coordination in zero visibility conditions. Are those real plasma burns they're treating? Tom asked, watching a medical training session. Of course, the medical officer replied. Can't learn proper burn treatment without real burns. Don't worry, they volunteered. They volunteered to be burned. Sure, medical team needs the practice, and soldiers need to know what plasma fire feels like. Builds resistance. Tom added another note. Humans deliberately expose themselves to injury to build resistance. Previous theories about collective insanity now seem optimistic. In the technology wing, human engineers were modifying their combat suits. Unlike the Raiders' bulky battle armor that helped them cope with higher gravity, human suits were designed to enhance their already terrifying capabilities. This enhances strength? Tom asked, examining a suit. No, it limits it, the engineer explained. We had to add restraints so soldiers don't accidentally break the equipment. Same with the speed governors. You make your equipment weaker to protect it from your soldiers. Yeah, learned that lesson the hard way. Cost us 3 tanks in early testing. The final demonstration was the space combat simulation. Tom watched as pilots practiced maneuvers that ignored basic survival instincts, intentionally using gravity wells for acceleration, flying through debris fields at full speed, executing combat roles that would knock most species unconscious, coordinating attacks in 3-dimensional space. Your pilots, Tom said carefully, they know those maneuvers could kill them. That's why we practiced them, the flight instructor said cheerfully. Better to risk death in training than die in combat, right? Tom's final report that day was marked X2REMELURGNT. The human preparation for combat exceeds all known military doctrine. They don't just train to fight. They train to fight in conditions worse than actual combat. Key observations. 1. They can function at triple their world's already lethal gravity. 2. They practice in temperature extremes for fun. 3. They voluntarily experience pain to build tolerance. 4. Their equipment needs to be weakened to prevent damage. 5. Their combat tactics ignore survival instincts. 6. They treat lethal conditions as training opportunities. Most disturbing conclusion. This is, according to them, basic training. As Tom finished his report, an alert came in. The Raiders had been spotted near another peaceful system. Good timing, Jack said, reading the alert. Training was getting boring. Time for the real thing. Tom watched the humans prepare for deployment, moving with practiced efficiency and what he now recognized as eager anticipation. They're looking forward to combat, he recorded in his final note of the day. The Raiders think they're invincible because they can fight in 1.2G with technological help. They're about to meet humans who train in 3G for fun. This will not end well for the Raiders. The first human combat ships were powering up. The Raiders' education in why you should never underestimate Deathworlders was about to begin. The Raider commander stood on his bridge, watching the small fleet of Earth ships approach, his species equivalent of a smile cross his face. These humans were about to learn why the Raiders rule the outer systems. Enemy ships entering weapons range, his tactical officer reported. Their design is primitive. Of course it is, the commander laughed. They're from a backwater death world. Probably don't even know how to fight in space. Then the humans did something that made no sense. Their ships accelerated straight toward the Raider fleet. They're not even trying to evade, the tactical officer said, confused. Loading weapons. The officer never finished his sentence. The human ships didn't slow down. They didn't stop. They didn't fire weapons. They just hit. 3 Raider ships disappeared in explosions as human vessels, their reinforced hulls designed to withstand Earth's gravity, simply rammed through the Raiders' superior shields. Impossible, the commander shouted. No crew could survive that impact. The answer came as human ships, damaged but functional, turned around for another pass. Their crews, evolved to withstand Earth's daily ground impacts, had barely noticed the collision. Multiple hull breaches. Someone screamed. They're boarding us. The Raiders had always relied on their powered armor to intimidate other species. The suits let them operate in higher gravity, made them stronger, faster. But as the first team of human Marines burst through a breach, the Raiders learned a terrible lesson about relative strength. Subject demonstrates ability to tear powered armor apart with bare hands. Tom recorded from the observation ship. Raider augmented strength appears insufficient against natural human capabilities. The raiders tried to fight back. They had the best weapons, the best armor, the best training, but they had never faced anything like humans in combat. A raider shot a human soldier with a plasma rifle. The human, his skin burning, grabbed the raider's weapon and crushed it. Then, while still on fire, he proceeded to disable 3 more raiders. Adding note, Tom spoke shakily. Humans continue fighting effectively, despite injuries that would instantly incapacitate other species. The raiders retreated to their gravity-enhanced sections, expecting the humans to be trapped by the 2G environment. Instead, the humans charged in, moving faster in double gravity than the raiders could in their powered suits. This is impossible. The raider commander watched his security feeds in horror. Check their suits. They must have gravity nullifiers. Sir, his officer replied, voice shaking. They're not wearing gravity suits, just basic armor. In the ship's main cargo hold, raiders watched in terror as a human lifted a fallen support beam that would have required powered armor to move. Another human was helping wounded raiders, carrying 3 at once to safety, seemingly unbothered by their weight. Combat effectiveness appears to increase when protecting others, Tom noted. Humans demonstrate ability to exceed normal strength limits when helping wounded, even enemy wounded. The raiders tried psychological warfare next, broadcasting fear-inducing frequencies. The humans laughed. That tickles. One Marine was recorded saying. They tried biological weapons. The humans' immune systems evolved to fight Earth's countless diseases, barely noticed. Note for medical database, Tom recorded. Human immune response to raider bioweapons classified as mild allergic reaction. Subject requested medicine called Benadryl and continued fighting. Within 2 hours, the battle was over. The raider fleet, pride of their military, had been reduced to floating wreckage. The survivors, in their broken powered armor, were being treated by human medics. The raider commander, now in custody, stared at his captors in disbelief. How? He asked Jack. We had better technology, better ships, better weapons. But we had Earth, Jack replied simply. Try growing up on a world that tries to kill you every day. Makes you tough. Tom's final battle report to the council was brief. Raiders encountered human military forces. Raiders had superior technology, powered armor, energy weapons, gravity manipulation, bioweapons, psychological warfare systems. Humans had higher natural strength, better adaptation to gravity, stronger immune systems, higher pain tolerance, practical combat experience, and most importantly, they grew up on Earth. Battle duration, 2 hours, 17 minutes. Result, complete raider defeat. Casualties, humans report just some scratches. Conclusion, never underestimate species that classify plasma burns as minor injuries. The remaining raider fleets, hearing the battle report, began retreating from council space. They had finally found something scarier than themselves. Humans who thought fighting in 2G was easy mode. The Raider High Command held an emergency meeting aboard their massive flagship. Reports from the first battle had caused panic among their leaders, something that had never happened before. Show the footage again, ordered the High Commander, his voice shaking. The holographic display activated, showing scenes that would give their species nightmares for generations. A human ship, on fire, ramming through their best shields. Marines fighting in high gravity without powered suits. Soldiers continuing to fight while injured. Medics carrying multiple raiders to safety. Their best weapons having almost no effect. How many ships did we lose? Someone asked. All of them, came the reply. The humans captured our entire attack fleet. The room fell silent. In 300 years of raiding, they had never lost a fleet, not even a single ship, until now. Perhaps, another commander suggested, we should try our special weapons. They deploy their fear toxin first. The raiders had used it to paralyze entire populations. Surely it would work on humans. It didn't. Target appears to be laughing, reported a confused raider scout. They say the gas feels funny and are asking for more. Tom, still observing from his safe distance, added to his notes, humans have such high natural adrenaline levels that artificial fear inducers cause euphoria instead of panic. Raiders seemed distressed by this discovery. The raiders tried their sonic weapons next. The frequencies were designed to disrupt neural patterns and cause confusion. The humans put it to music and called it a rave. Adding to notes, Tom recorded, humans can apparently dance to frequencies that cause brain damage in other species. Several raiders surrendered after witnessing this. Desperate, the raiders deployed their most terrible weapon, nanobots designed to cause pain in every nerve ending. The human response feels like that hot sauce we had last week, one soldier reported. Kind of miss that burning sensation, actually. The raiders' most advanced biological weapons met humanity's immune system and lost badly. Their deadliest viruses were killed by basic human stomach acid. Their strongest bacteria couldn't survive human body temperature. Report to High Command, a raider scientist wrote frantically. Human immune systems treat our bioweapons like a mild cold. Several test subjects asked for something called chicken soup and continued fighting. The raiders tried psychological warfare next, broadcasting images of their victories on other worlds. The humans responded by broadcasting Earth-nature documentaries. Is that their home world? A raider analyst asked, watching footage of Earth's predators, storms, and natural disasters. They live there, on purpose. The final blow to raider morale came when they intercepted human communications. They expected to hear fear, panic, or at least concern. Instead, they heard soldiers sharing jokes during combat, Marines competing for most raiders captured, medics betting on who could carry more injured, pilots discussing fun battle maneuvers, engineers treating plasma damage like minor repairs. They're enjoying this, the High Commander realized with horror. Everything we throw at them, they treat like a game. Tom's report to the Council that day was marked Urgent, Major Tactical Shift. Raiders attempting psychological warfare against humans has backfired completely. Key observations. 1. Fear toxins act as stimulants on humans too. Pain weapons remind them of their food. 3. Sonic attacks become entertainment for bioweapons defeated by basic immune response. 5. Psychological warfare fails due to human entertainment being more terrifying than raider threats. Most significant discovery. Humans don't just fight well, they're having fun doing it. The turning point came when human ships appeared near the raider home system. They didn't attack. They just waited, broadcasting a simple message. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Your choice. But remember, we're the species that exercises in triple gravity for fun. The raiders' surrender was transmitted within the hour. As the human fleet accepted the raiders' surrender, Tom added a final note to his report. Today marks the first time in recorded history that a species surrendered not because they were defeated, but because they realized their opponents were actually enjoying the fight. The raiders, it seems, have learned an important lesson. Never start a war with species that treats deadly combat as a sporting event. The war was over. The raiders had finally met something scarier than themselves. Humans who thought their best weapons were kind of ticklish. 3 months after the raiders' surrender, the Galactic Council held a special ceremony. Representatives from 100 peaceful worlds gathered to honor Earth's military forces. Tom watched from his observation post, recording what would become his final report on human behavior. The main hall had been specially modified to Earth standard gravity, which meant most alien representatives attended via hologram. Only Tom and a few other brave souls wore environmental suits to attend in person. Presenting the Council's highest honor, the Council leader announced, to the human military forces for their service in ending the raider threat. Jack stepped forward to accept the award. Behind him stood a group of human soldiers who had led the final battle. Tom noticed something interesting about them. One had an arm in a cast, just a small break. Another had burned scars, plasma tickles. A third walked with a slight limp. Gravity training was worse. Adding to final notes, Tom recorded, "Humans appear to wear their injuries as badges of honor, comparing them like trading cards." The council leader spoke again. "We have also received an unusual request from the former raiders. Their representative would like to speak." The raider high commander appeared on the central platform. His species' natural arrogance was gone, replaced by something Tom had never seen in a raider before: respect. "We fought many species," the raider began. "We thought our technology made us invincible. Then we met humans." He paused. "We had gravity suits. They lived in high gravity for fun. We had pain weapons. They eat spicy food that hurts more. We had fear toxins. They turned them into party drugs." The human soldiers chuckled. One whispered, "That fear gas was wild. Better than coffee." "But what truly defeated us wasn't their strength," the raider continued. "It was their attitude. We attacked them, and they treated it like a game. We used our deadliest weapons, and they asked for more. We tried to terrify them, and they showed us their nature documentaries." He shuddered. "Have you seen what they call a honey badger?" Tom added another note. "Raiders appear traumatized by Earth wildlife videos. Recommend restricting access to Discovery Channel." The raiders' next words shocked the council. "We request permission to send our young warriors to train with humans." The hall erupted in whispers. The raiders, the terror of the galaxy, wanted to learn from humans. "We realize now," the raider explained, "that true strength isn't about technology. It's about adapting, enduring," and he seemed to struggle with the concept, having fun while doing it. Jack stepped forward. "We'd be happy to help. Our training facilities could use some variety. Plus, we've been wondering if your gravity suits could be modified for extreme sports." Tom quickly added, "Warning. Humans planning to modify raider military equipment for entertainment purposes. Anticipate increase in gravity-related recreational activities." The ceremony ended with an Earth-style celebration. The humans had brought something they called hot wings and beer. Tom watched in amazement as raiders tried human food and discovered their fear toxins were milder. Council members learned about human sports and were horrified. Humans demonstrated their party games, which seemed oddly combat-related. Several species fainted watching videos of human children playing. Tom's final report to the council contained a new classification. Humans must be reclassified from dangerous Deathworlders to terrifying but friendly Deathworlders. They have demonstrated that they are stronger than our strongest, tougher than our toughest, more resilient than our most resilient, and most importantly, they think it's all great fun. Recommendation: maintain strong alliance with humans, not because they're dangerous, though they are, but because they've proven they will fight to protect others. Just don't ask them about their recreational activities. Some things are better left unknown. As the celebration continued, Jack approached Tom with a glass of something called extra spicy Bloody Mary. "Want to try it?" Jack offered. "It's basically just vegetables and pain." Tom looked at his environmental suit's hazard readings, then at the smiling human, and made a decision. Sometimes, he thought, the only way to understand Deathworlders was to think like one. "Why not?" he said, modifying his suit's intake filters. After all, what's the worst that could happen? Every human in hearing range burst out laughing. Tom realized he'd just learned the most important lesson about humans. They hadn't just survived their death world. They'd learned to love it. And that, more than anything else, was why you should never underestimate Deathworlders.